Welcome to the Goalbusters Expert Peak Productivity Tips podcast, where top business experts get just 7 minutes to answer 5 rapid-fire questions about what they do and how they stay productive. Each episode is packed with actionable insights to help boost your efficiency and achieve your goals. Let's dive in and unlock the secrets to peak performance.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Robin J. Emden, and I'm an accountability coach and the author of Get Resultsology, The Science of Getting Stuff Done. I work with people who run their own business. No boss, distractions everywhere, and never enough hours in the day. Together we cut through the noise, sharpen their focus, and follow through on the big ideas that actually move the needle. That's what I call the momentum formula. Do it today, profit tomorrow, and repeat. So if that sounds like the kind of breakthrough that you've been looking for, then you're in exactly the right place. And speaking of being in exactly the right place, I am delighted to welcome our guest expert today, Karl Staib. Karl is the founder of Systematic Leader. He helps business leaders trade their fire extinguisher for a growth engine, designing customer experience systems that retain customers and ignite referrals. See what you did there, Karl? Love it. All the fire references. Karl, welcome to Goalbusters.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. And whereabouts in the world are you, Karl?
I'm in Texas, San Antonio. So it's very rainy, but it's not as cold as probably where you are right now.
Oh my goodness, I've never heard anyone refer to rain in Texas. It shows how little I know about your country. That's awful, isn't it? I really don't know what I'm talking about. And on that note, perhaps we should do the questions instead, shall we?
That sounds good.
All right, I'll get the clock up on the screen. And there it goes. Karl, could you tell me, please, who is your ideal client?
Yes. Busy leaders. Busy leaders often don't put things in place that help them get the results they want. And so I focus in the healthcare industry, but really it's about helping busy leaders create systems that help them support themselves as well as their employees.
Thank you. That's very succinct and easy to understand. So that moves us swiftly on to the second question, which is what I like, which is what exactly is the problem? You've alluded to it briefly there, but perhaps you'd expand on it, the problem or problems, plural, that you solve.
Yeah, so this is fascinating because systems are just rampant throughout a company, but a lot of people don't review them. And usually where we start is the customer experience. The customer experience has often been designed and implemented, but really I shouldn't even say designed. It has been put into place because people are busy and they're like, hey, we got to do this, we got to fix this, we got to adjust it here, we got to pivot a little bit here. And all of a sudden you have all these systems in place and you're getting you have a decent customer experience, but you're not really understanding how it all connects. And so I come in, I help you kind of lay everything out, what connects, what doesn't, and where those gaps are, and then how to close them.
Fantastic. Love that too. Okay, again, I don't need to jump in there with any more questions about that because you explained it so eloquently. So we'll move on then to question 3, which is what is one valuable free action that our audience can implement that will help them to go some way towards solving this problem for themselves?
Yeah. And I think why a lot of leaders don't think about this is because, your customers, they're doing their thing. And if it's subscription or if it's service based, the issue comes as a lot of times people, they don't complain, or if it's just okay service, they won't speak up. And the idea is to gather this. So what I think a lot of businesses should do is create customer interviews and do them regularly. So you're tracking towards what's working and what's not. Because, the Pareto principle, right? So it's the 80-20 rule. 20% of your effort, your output delivers 80% of your results. So what is that? What are those results? How are they looking? Why are they doing the things that they're doing? And then are you tracking them? Because I think this is where a lot of people falter, is they're not tracking the right things at the right time. And sometimes they're tracking too many things, and then there's too much to keep track of, and you don't really know what's moving the needle. And I think if you look at, a really good company, like right now, I'm working with a company that does in-home care for seniors. And so as these people are going in, there's a lot of miscommunication. So what we did is we created a communication system all through text, and then the AI will create summaries for the other caretakers, the internal staff, but then also for the families. And what this does is it smooths out the system and creates less friction, because now you don't have to have anybody synthesizing through it, figuring out what's important, what's not. AI does that for them. And the idea is it's learning as it goes. So we're improving it and we're making it easier for everybody to communicate with each other.
Wow, that would have been a very different answer even a year ago. But the result is probably the same. In fact, it's probably more efficient now. All right, thank you. That's very interesting indeed. So now that we have a little bit of a better understanding of what you do, and I always emphasize a little bit because that's our fault. We're going to give you 3 minutes after all to explain. So let's dive briefly into goal busting, which is focusing on how to maximize productive time to achieve business goals. So in addition to what you've already been talking about, which really is addressing this point, could you share any other tips or advice for someone looking to improve their productivity habits?
Yes, and this is so important. I don't think a lot of people think about this. Mapping out. I am a very visual, and I think a lot of people are. It's why we prefer video, why most people will watch a short video over reading a short piece of text. It's because, we can process it. There's more inputs, right? There's the visual, the auditory, there's a lot more stimulation there. And so what I think people should do from a productivity perspective, if they want to improve in a certain area, map out the steps you do to accomplish that thing. Whether it's if you want to write every day, whether you want to create a short video for your audience every day, how does that look? How do you do it? How do you put those things into place? How do you review it? What's good? What's bad? Creating those metrics, and you map all that out and you visually see all the different steps and the different touch points that are occurring as they're going through it. And then what you can do then, it looks more like Lego blocks. You can pull out a piece, you can say, okay, well, that's not working as well as it used to, or that needs to be improved. Let's tweak it and then plug it back in instead of trying to fix 10 things at once.
Yeah, fantastic. Being familiar with the territory. When you know your territory really well, then you can see instantly what's working and what's not working. But you've got to know it first. And so mapping it out is the place to begin. I love that. All right, thank you. So finally, in our time we've got left, what should I have asked you today, Karl, that I didn't? And your answer, please.
Yeah, I think everybody should have a system to process their thoughts and emotions. Too often as leaders, we just go, go, go. And we are busy and we are trying to keep up, and we don't take time to pause, look at what's really going on inside of ourselves. We are feeling beings. We always talk about, like, okay, just, push that aside, just, buckle down, get it done. But what ends up happening is burnout. All these leaders that are, trying to get things done often fail because they don't take those times to pause, reassess, and then make some adjustments to what they're doing.
Yes, I completely agree with you. In fact, I think some of our most productive time is when we actually stop and think, or give ourselves, and not even necessarily stop and think, stop and pause, take a breath, maybe take a few days off. And in that time, the ideas that will float to the surface will astound you, frankly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but if you don't make the time and you're just busy doing, well, I used to have a dog that did that, and it wasn't a very pleasant experience. So don't do that. Actually stop and think. All right. And on that unfortunate analogy, we have run out of time on the 7 minutes, but there's still time at this point I'll get rid of the clock because that always annoys me. There's still time to ask you one more question, which is I always ask at this point, which is a two-parter. First, how can people reach you? And secondly, is there like a valuable free resource they can get from you as well? And I always say, being British, that's quite a cheeky thing to ask, but I'm not really being cheeky. I'm being practical. I think sometimes people aren't quite ready to jump in with both feet and just get in touch. They want to find out more about what you do, and the valuable free resources are a brilliant way of doing that.
Yes, yes. So go to systematicleader.co, as in company, .co. And the idea that I've put in place is creating resources that help people with their customer experience and their communication systems. To me, it all comes back to your systems. If I don't know if you ever read the book Atomic Habits, but basically we fall to the level of our systems. So if you build systems that really support you and help you get the results that you want, it makes it easier to improve them. And so there at systematicleader.co/guides, there's customer experience questions. There's integrating AI. I've created these guides to help kind of kickstart people to think about improving their AI systems, their customer experience systems, and really find those things that they can, those little nuggets of, oh, if I tweak this a little bit, I can increase sales or referrals. And so they can go there and get that and check that out before they, dive too deep with me.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. That sounds great. And you've mentioned it, alluded to it a couple of times, actually asking your customers, asking them. When I was training years and years ago as a life coach, the question that came up again and again and again was, how do you know what your client is thinking, feeling, doing, whatever? And the answer was always so simple. Ask them.
Yes. We don't. We're afraid. We're afraid of what they're going to say.
So then we assume or presume, and then the aspect of assume kicks in. We make a complete, of ourselves because we just assumed and didn't take the time to work it, to actually ask them. We just thought we knew, and sometimes we do, but most of the time we don't, and it's just easier. All right, Karl, that has been amazing. Thank you so much. It's been fascinating listening to what you do. It's lovely to see someone, or it's more and more we hear how the practical benefits of integrating AI into our businesses as well. And as opposed to the downsides of it, which I'm not talking about the big downsides that nobody yet knows about quite where it's going to end up. But, one of the things is constantly is AI lies. It tells you rubbish. So you do need the guiding hand of someone who really knows what they're doing to tell you the difference. And I think that's someone like you. In fact, I'm sure that's you in this area, your area of specialty. So thank you so much for appearing on Goldbusters today.
Thank you. I had a blast. This has been fun.
Yeah, I love meeting you too, and I give my regards to a very soggy Texas. I'd never thought I'd hear those two words put together, but obviously I was wrong. And thank you once again for appearing on Goldbusters. And remember, everybody, keep goalbusting and make your future self proud. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Goalbusters. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe, rate and review it on your favourite podcast platform. Your support is very much appreciated. And if you're ready to boost your online profits, skyrocket your productivity, crush procrastination, and see a positive change in your bank balance, all within just 30 days, this is your opportunity. Take my free 5-day challenge at www.skyrocketyourproductivitychallenge.com.